British scientists have identified a set of 10 proteins in the blood that can possibly predict the onset of Alzheimer's, an important step toward developing a test for the incurable, devastating disease. To get more information on this disease that affects 44 million people right now and will possibly double or triple in the coming years, let's go to our South Florida studio where Newsmax Deputy Health Editor Nick Tate is standing by. Nick, it's good to see you as always.
Good to be with you, Lynn.
This, to me, just seems like it should be screaming headlines all across the country that there could possibly be a test that could predict the onset of Alzheimer's.
It really has been a holy grail of medicine to come up with a test that predicts Alzheimer's, because there really are no definitive early warning signs for Alzheimer's. And what happens today, because there's no real treatment, there's no real cure, is that by the time people have symptoms of memory loss and other symptoms of Alzheimer's, by the time that happens, the drugs really can't do very much to help folks because the disease has already progressed. But if you could do a blood test, in as simple a way that as you now do cholesterol testing, that would identify whether you are at risk, you could get those drugs sooner and they could do more good.
What kind of impact would that have on families where Alzheimer's runs in the genes, where it runs in the family?
Well, you know, they say Alzheimer's does not just affect individuals, it really affects whole families, caregivers. Many spouses provide the care for someone with Alzheimer's, children, close family members. It really changes your whole life in ways that you really cannot anticipate. So it would be a tremendous benefit. It would not only extend the lives and allow people to maintain their memories and their personalities if they are at risk for Alzheimer's by slowing the progression, but it really would have a tremendous effect on those families. Something like 1 in 10 Americans over the age of 80 or 85 is at risk of developing Alzheimer's, and it is the 6th leading cause of death in this country. So it costs a lot of money, hundreds of billions of dollars in health care, and in addition, the toll on families is just immeasurable.
You said it absolutely perfectly, because it's just so emotional when someone that you know and love slowly disappears in front of you. How will we know if we can get the test? Can we go to our doctor's office at this point and ask to test for these proteins to see if they are present in our bloodstream?
It's really too early yet. This is really just the first step in identifying and creating a test that you could get in your doctor's office. And in many ways, what the real benefit of this finding is researchers that have been testing drugs, something like 100 Alzheimer's drugs have been tested over the last 15 years. All of them have failed, and one reason that researchers believe that's the case is because the individuals that were taking those drugs had already had Alzheimer's developments, Alzheimer's damage to their brains, and so the drugs that were experimental could not be effective. So this test might allow researchers to identify those people who could be tested with future experimental drugs that will lead to those treatments, possibly even a cure. So it's still too early to ask your doctor for it, but we do see that in the next couple of years being a very strong likelihood.
Finally, it's just great news to hear that there's progress being made, because those numbers are startling. 44 million people, and that number expected to double or triple in the coming decades. So I guess we can say that while it might be too early for us to get the test, at least progress is being made.
Absolutely true, and the hope is really, there's such great hope for it. The issue, I think, is that as the number of boomers turn 65, something like 10,000 Americans every day are turning 65 in this country. As more older people grow, this disease is becoming even more prevalent.
All right, Nick Tate, always great information. We'll talk to you later in the show. We'll take a short break right now, but when we come back, we'll have our featured takeaway on just how many Americans are hooked on painkillers. Stay with us for that and much more as Meet the Doctors continues.